everyone, it's me, Believing42. You finally see my face after a very long time. Today I'll be doing something different, so I have to get more barriers to this channel. So I created a classic game comparison. In this section I want to compare the same game but with different platforms. Because you know, back then the game each version of the game looks so different. Really different. And today's game I want to compare is FIFA 99 for the PlayStation 1 and N64. And the only way I can record this game is by using an emulator. So if you have the ps1 game, it's kinda easy by using the emulator PSX 1.13. But since the N64 doesn't have a CD, you can download the ROM version only if you have the game. Note! So, how to use the emulator. First, get the game. Put the game on the CD drive.
If you like before playing, download Motion Joy to input your wired controller. Download it. Configure the control scheme. It will look like this. Open your emulator and play your game.
I'll be using this controller for some reason. I don't know what it is. It doesn't glow. So before ado, let's compare the games.
The first step is the presentation. I will start with the PlayStation 1 version because it's the first game I play first. The first version of that game. So right, PlayStation 1 has solid presentation. What I mean by presentation in this video, I mean the intro. The PS1 back then uses CDs, and it uses around 400 to 600 megabytes of space in most games. Because of this, we have video for intros as well as the company logo animation. It looks great! And the guy's face is the highlight for the game's introduction. It looks next gen back then. So what about the Nintendo 64?
EA Sports, it's in the game.
Not much. But I will say, the quality looks great. Even though it still uses cartridges which had between 10 or 20 megabytes for most games. Well, that's why they introduced the memory pack expansion pack later on. But don't worry, Nintendo. You improve this concept to this day with handhelds. Just like Sony with their PS Vita.
It's down to the menu screen.
Why'd you ask? Because you can also tell the difference if you pay more attention to the details. The highlight to this section is the Nintendo 64. Despite the space of the console, it's still superior when it comes to, you know, the power. We will talk about that later in this video, if we must. The PS1 version menu is static, while, you know, the Nintendo 64 version is flashy and more dynamic. Both versions are identical, with the like of the menu based on the soccer ball pattern. It may be confusing at first, but it's okay, I guess. If you like flashy menus, this is your game. Static? You rock! If you want a better look of it, here's a side-by-side comparison, which is a lot better than actually skipping out the entire video. Next, the graphics! Now is the moment to talk about the looks. Well, the PS1 looks good. Good? Yes, it's good. It was so good, the consoles back then, in the old days, running on 32-bit hardware. Had some notable edges on the details, because it's one of the first few consoles that uses 32-bit. It was like in 1996 or something. That's kind of old. It's like me back in 1996. But I like pixels. But I don't complain about that. Now, it's the Nintendo 64. And man, does it look like a beast. Like I said earlier, this console was powerful. It's running on 64-bit hardware, and you can notice the difference from the PS1, especially the flashing menus. And again, it's a beast, man! And it even looks sharper on the edges in a faraway distance. Well, I like to give this version the graphical highlight. Here are some of the screenshot comparison. And now, the most important part of a game is the gameplay. Play ball! Without further ado, let's head out to the stadium.
Find us in time for our live match, which today is between Manchester and Arsenal. Time for the kickoff. So here's John Motson. He's with Mark Lawrenson.
And not a spare seat in the stadium here as you join us. Both teams with loyal supporters and more than a few neutrals here to see some good football. Any thoughts, Mark?
Yeah, it's great to see a full house here, and that can only encourage the players down there.
One thing to highlight is the announcer. As you know, the PS1 has a better announcer. That's all. The gameplay looks smooth, but for some reason the game lags on me when recording. Oh PC, why? Why? You run FIFA 2000 with no problem, but why in this game? Why? So I just speed up the gameplay to pretend it's running smoothly. Now that's more like it. On the N64 it doesn't lag, so I have to say I like this version in my opinion. Even if the controller are not simpler in the PS1, the culture, or should I say the goalies, doesn't magically attract the ball that much unlike the PS1. And it's a lot of fun to play. The issue of having both versions, I guess, is with the AI. Sometimes. They're just sometimes stupid. Sometimes, you know. Maybe because I played on an easy difficulty. I don't know. It really happens. Now, you want a verdict? Alright, but it will depend on personal preference. Both versions are great. They have their own strengths and weaknesses. It doesn't matter. What matters is to have fun.
He did so well there, making enough space for the shot and letting the keeper.
Not entirely on graphics, the gameplay is most important. But for me, I like FIFA 99 for the N64, even if I can watch the intro videos. So this is the Learning 42, and have a great day everyone.